Hello and welcome to this tutorial. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Katie Nelson. I'm also known as Katie the Creative Lady, and you can find me at katiethecreativelady.com. I have a blog where I talk about all sorts of creative, fun things like memory keeping and photography, and that's my home base where you can always find me and even link to my social media accounts. If you go up to the top of my blog, you'll see all my social media icons. Today I'm going to talk about how to mix patterned papers on scrapbook layouts. This is something that I get a lot of questions about, and many scrapbookers seem to struggle with this idea. There are so many fun papers out there to use, and how do you combine them and still make your photos be the star of the page? So I'm going to talk about all of these things. I am going to introduce you to my beautiful blues collection. I will be sharing some pages with this and going through this kit with you, but I also am sharing design ideas from several different kit collections so you can see how to mix and match papers. In this newest collection of mine in my Color Story series, there are the traditional pocket cards that I always include in 3x4 size and in the 6x4. So I always like to just give you a little peek at the fun designs because sometimes it's hard to tell just from the preview. So always lots of quotes and inspirational sayings that go well on scrapbook pages and for other creative projects too, like maybe greeting cards or a little love note. So these are what I call the filler cards. And there are several different filler cards. This true blue card in the middle could also be used as a journaling card if you wanted to write on that space. Again, with the memories card, that could be used as a filler or a journaling card. So sometimes I'll use them both ways. You'll see examples of that as we go on. Here are the 6x4 orientations, which is nice if you do more horizontal scrapbooking. And again, the journaling cards. The paper pack, we'll go over this paper pack a lot in this tutorial, so I'll just give you a quick peek now. I love all the fun papers, the kind of the polka dots, but also like a bouquet, the some people call it bokeh, but I think it's bouquet, look of photography that you get in that blue sheet. And then there are the cute little butterflies. My daughter actually helped design that page, that paper. A beautiful blue cloudy sky and some cute little scales, which are really fun for sea and ocean layouts or even maybe a dragon. Denim. I love the denim. You have to have denim with blue. And a blueprint looking grid, which is you'll see I've used on the pocket cards and printables for a fun blueprint looking alpha. And that's short for alphabet. I guess I should explain that. I love the wave paper. That's probably my favorite one in this pack. I know designers shouldn't have favorites, but oftentimes you do as you get creating. And then this is a really fun marbly blue paper. I love that one too. Sort of a galaxy sky and a good old stripe. Stripes are so great for mixing and matching pattern papers. Nice subtle ring design and floral. I love florals. This one might be my favorite too. It's hard to pick. I also have a template set that comes with 4 single page templates and 4 double page templates if you like to scrap in doubles for photo books or other purposes. Templates are so great to use because it takes the guesswork out. The shadowing's already in place. It's like all you have to do is plug and play. You just put in your photos in your papers of choice and it's done, quick and easy. So these are just a little look at the double page templates here too. Stamps and brushes. I have a tutorial all about how to use stamps and brushes. I'll link that in the comments. But this gives you lots of opportunities for more creativity with this set and beyond. You can make hybrid projects like cards. These are great to add for titles and journaling bits on your pages. You can change the sizes and the colors. And with all of my digital products, you can use these over and over. That's the fun thing. You don't run out. So where do you want to start when you're getting ready to mix pattern papers? With scrapbooking, when I'm creating a layout, I usually always pick my photos first. Now there are times if you have a kit you really want to use or some particular creative project in mind that you might pick your supplies first, and that's perfectly fine. There's no wrong or right way to do that. For me, I'm very photo based, and so I usually pick those first, and then I'll start looking through my paper choices. A really good piece of advice is to pick your biggest or boldest pattern first, or busiest would be another B word to put in there. So you want to pick something that if you're using several pattern papers, you want to get that really stand out design picked first. It doesn't mean that it has to be big or busy. It might just be that you're going to pick your solid paper or just a very subtle paper, but kind of pick what you really want as the star of the papers first. And then you'll want to play around with the placement of that. It may be your background paper. It may just be a subtle touch of a paper strip. That's okay. But just pick that biggest one first. I look through my set of blue papers here, and I can see several that would stand out to me as something to pick first if I'm going to be mixing. So this one has a lot going on in it, right? And so you would consider that a bolder pattern. This is a busier pattern with those fun florals. This, even though it's more subtle, can be kind of a busy pattern. And of course, stripes, and they can be quite bold in some cases. Other cases, they might be more subtle. So after you pick the big and the bold, you're going to want to choose a pattern that's about half the scale of the largest pattern. And that is easier with some paper sets than others, and you'll see as I go through. So the second pattern should be a complement design and not a competitor. You don't want two really wild designs trying to compete against each other. So you might want to look for things that are a little more subtle in this case. They can still have a lot going on design-wise, but they may not be quite as busy. Even a textured solid can often work as a pattern. This denim has a diagonal in it, so that works as a pattern as well. Those waves are not quite as loud as bold as some of the other patterns, but they have quite a bit of action going on too. And then any other pattern that you add, you just want to make sure they're smaller in scale than the largest design that you've chosen. You want to keep the other additions more subtle, and this is really where dots and checks and stripes and the small florals, simple patterns, they all really complement busier patterns, and they're so fun to mix and match. That's why I always include them in my paper packs. So this cute little scale design really fits in with that. It would kind of be about the same type of design as a little polka dot. The butterflies, again, those are a little smaller, little less busy. The ring design is a great subtle, and it may be a little harder to see on your screen because it's such a dark paper, but it's got a really nice subtle design. The galaxy is fun. It's sort of like a splattered polka dot. So I'm going to show you a couple of groupings of papers and walk you through those because it really helps to see them in action. So here I've paired a solid blue, light blue, and those scales and the waves together, and they look so nice together. You can kind of see how the size works. Those waves, they're busier, they have a bigger size, and then those scales are really about half of that or less. And so it fits nicely. And of course, solids always work. Here's another set, that fun floral with the ring design and a solid paper. I love that combination. This fun wild marble paper, I just decided I'd put that with two solids. I don't want to compete with that. Again, that floral, for me, florals and stripes look really good together. Also florals and checks and florals and polka dots. And again, just another solid paper with it. Those butterflies are cute on their own. Even though that's a small design, it's okay to have your small design be your quote big and bold design. It doesn't matter on size. It doesn't mean you have to choose a really big size. It means which paper are you going to choose that will have more focus to it. And then the others should complement. So the design tips that really go well with mixing patterns are the same often in interior design or quilting or scrapbooking. And it's always really successful to use a rule of 3. Groupings of 3 are pleasing to the eye, and you'll see that on those previous examples, I used 3s. That's a nice way to get a group together. And you want to mix the same type of color values and intensities. It's going to be confusing to your eye if you have really bold colors with muted colors, or really modern, wild pattern paper designs with simple little muted designs. So I'll show you some of the examples of what works well together. These are from some of my other kits. This is from my Setting Goals collection, the paper pack there. And that floral is just happy and colorful and has a lot going on and would be really cute on any page. But you wouldn't want to put another floral that competes with that, just really wild against it. You want to complement it. So the number countdown paper is perfect next to it, that navy. And then adding another print, that little pink and red gingham check. So those are all good examples of how you can vary your sizes, but you're keeping it very complementary to each other, using the same color palette and the same type of look. This example is also from that same collection, the Setting Goals, and those triangles are really colorful and fun, and I would want that to be the star of my paper edition. But I still want to bring in more along that theme, and it's perfectly fine to add other patterns with that, even though that's a very busy pattern. You just want to be careful that you're keeping those design rules in mind. You're going smaller with the size on the others, and you're keeping it so that they don't overwhelm each other. So I love that goal paper that is all about reaching your goals and having a plan. And then that green diagonal, those are really great with those triangles. This is from another set of mine called Chocolate Box. And I love those fun little round, chocolatey, cute shapes. But I wouldn't want to put a lot else with those. But simple floral goes well, and that yellow grid, those are both great complements to that. From my Lucky Me collection, the shamrocks are a great star for the design. They have all sorts of shamrock colors and shapes. So I'm going to keep the other choices simple and go with the diamond and a textured solid that has a bit of a pattern to it. This is from my Mask Up collection, and the cute little masked up people are definitely worth focusing on and adding just a few other little designs to them, like the yellow grid and the red houses with the hearts. That is a great complement and does not take away from the main design. So one thing you want to do is you're trying to figure out how papers work well together. Study the types of papers and fabrics that designers put together in collections. Look to the experts to see how they do it. When I look at my own previews and as I'm creating papers for each pack, I'm very careful to make sure I have varying sizes and different papers that will work well together. So this is from my Cozy Fall paper pack. You can see that I have some bigger and bolder pumpkins and leaves, even a bolder plaid, but then I have smaller designs like an orange floral and an orange hatch, some teal text with fall words, a chevron that goes well with the reds and the oranges. So look at how those are combined. Here's another example from my New Year's paper pack. Again, big fun designs, fireworks, clocks, stars, festivities, papers, stripes. This one I kept a little more on the wild side because this is supposed to be celebrating. But I also have some smaller prints and some variety so that you can mix and match those papers. The speckles, the little black doodles, even the gray wood are going to work well as complements to the busier papers. For my December Moments paper pack, my Christmas set, again, big, bold plaids, evergreen branches, lots of presents and cute details for Christmas, but also some more subtle holly and tiny check, tiny dots, and some little snowflake stars and writing. So beyond looking at designers, you can also look at your favorite memory keepers, your scrapbookers and crafters that you follow. How do they mix patterned papers? I'll show you some examples that I have worked on. This page is actually by my daughter, so this is her example, but she used the blue collection. She used that wave paper in a small strip on the side, and the scale paper, she filled in one of the pocket card or photo spots with paper, which is a great way to add design to your page. She used the template I designed, so it was all very easy. This is a page I created with one of the templates and with that same set, and I used the stripe as the accent strip on the side, and then that galaxy paper, because I thought those coordinated nicely with the pocket card I used and the photos. So you never want to add so much that you detract from the photos. The photos and the story should be your main focus when you look at a page. But the ingredients that you add should complement them and really complete your story. If you've watched my black and white tutorial, you've seen this page before, but it's a good example of mixing pattern papers. I used that bolder plaid for the borders and added some touches of the little crosshatch and the polka dot screen papers, just for extra touches. Another one from that black and white tutorial, those big bold dots and a fun stripe together were a great mix and match with pattern papers. And then I kept everything else simple. I used the black paper as a background, and so that the photos and the pocket cards would pop. Here's another page that I worked on with my Mentally Healthy collection. That cute little sunshine paper, I wanted to include that because my daughter has such a sunny personality, but I didn't want it to overwhelm the story. And so I just used that as a paper strip and then added the fun polka dot after. This is another page my daughter created with the Lucky Me collection, and you can see how she used that shamrock paper as a big part of the border, and then that textured solid that gives just a hint of pattern to it. That keeps the focus on the photos and the cute cards off to the side. This is from my New Year's collection, and I didn't mix a lot of papers for this. I just used that strip of the watches and clocks because that was the way I wanted to illustrate the story. And for me, that was a good complement because there's pattern on the tablecloth. I have the pocket cards. There's a lot of different colors going on in the photos, but it all comes together nicely with that theme and is not too much. Now, you may think I like to use a lot of pattern papers. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people, that is their style. They don't like a lot of white space. They like those fun patterns and bold colors, and that's great. This is an example using those papers from the Setting Goals collection. Now for me, this is probably just a little too much for me, but it is very cute. And if you start playing around with pattern papers, try different positions because sometimes different papers will look better in different ways. So I tried this with just the green behind me and the flowers as a border. And that wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it is a really fun look and there's nothing wrong with that. So then I decided to try it the other way. And actually, this is the one I'm going to keep and use for myself because I do love those flowers and I think they are great with the black and white photos. These are selfies I took a few years ago after getting a haircut. And that green frame is a great way to show off the flowers and just add a finishing touch to the page. So don't be afraid to play around with different positioning on pattern papers. You will find your comfort zone and figure out what you like. And there's really no wrong way to do that. Everybody has their own style, but I've given you some tips that will help you as you decide how you want to use pattern papers to help tell your story. So mix and match. Don't be afraid of patterns. Can be really fun. Even if you're a more minimal scrapbooker, you can use small strips of fun patterns and add some personality to your pages. Keep it interesting, but don't get overwhelming. And I've just got this little image here of one of my printables. I turned that pocket card into a printable because that would be fun to frame and put up in a gallery, especially where you have a lot of blue photos or artwork. And that design is quite busy, but you've seen how you can combine those type of designs with simpler patterns and really have a great look. I hope that you will take a minute and hit like on this video and be sure to follow or subscribe to me on YouTube. That really helps you see when I have new videos available. Thanks again for joining me. I sure appreciate it.